बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम सबा ना बल सबा बस्ता सो पेपर ठीक है तरस जो रज़ी का ना आता सो दे पेपर ना बार बार तक तेरा ख्वाखन ना कैसे है so let me have a memorization technique. Memorization. Padimane build topics walu. Ho zamunga let me tell you in English please. How to memorize something. Daily I will add one trick with that, okay? First of all, there are many scientific proved way how to memorize things and put it in your mind. So it's very easy. There is nothing. Listen to me. The difference between a Western student and an Eastern student is not actually about the knowledge. We have the same physics, they have the same physics. We have the same bio, they have the same bio. We are studying the same current affairs and they are also studying the same current affairs. The problem is that their memorization is good as compared to us. So we say the main difference between the Eastern students and the Western students is that the Eastern students learn science without science. Yeah, learn science without science. In the Eastern students, Western students learn science with science. It means the science tells the way how to memorize things. Remember, our brain is divided into two parts. Okay, so these memorization techniques work up to many extent. Okay, according to many researches, why a person learns a lot through visuals information and why a person cannot learn the text. This is very, when a story is converted into visual pictures, you learn more about that. You can put in your mind very easily. So here is an interesting thing. We have, this is called the left side and this is called the right side. We have the left brain and the right brain. Left brain has 10% memory. The right brain has 90% memory. Okay. Now, in left brain, whenever you are learning things in words, your left brain actually works. Do you understand? Your left brain works. Okay, guys. So your left brain works only 10%. Whenever you are learning in words things and words, so actually you learn only 10%. Your memorization growth or memorization rate will be 10%. But if you are learning things, actually according to many researches, that if a thing is in visual form, if a question is in a diagram form, a person understands it very easily and a person learns very easily. So if whenever actually we are learning something in visual form, something in picture form, our right mind works. Now our right mind is called the creative side, the creative mind, the visual mind, the visual side of the brain, right? So it means this works for visual, this works for creativity of person. So remember, each word has a picture in our mind. Our mind thinks in picture, not in words. Suppose if I tell you mother, so the mother word does not come to your mind, but the picture comes to your mind, the mother picture. If I say your school, so the school picture comes in your mind, not actually the word comes in your mind, okay? It's very interesting. So now here is an important thing, guys. You have visual, creativity, and an interesting thing, according to many researchers, why we don't get bored watching the movies. If the movie is 4 hours, we can watch it easily. But you cannot bear, you cannot afford sitting for 1 hour to the book reading. Because the book is not in visual form, the book is in the words form. And a person actually, he actually cannot put all words in the mind. So what you need, what techniques should be applied? Remember, try your best to make diagrams of each stories which you have. You need to make the diagram of the World War I. You need to make the diagram of Treaty of Westphalia. The more things are in diagram form, the more things are in different shape forms. So your mind picks that very easily. Do you understand? If let me have it. If I write here man, you don't understand what is man actually. But if I write like this, you understand it very easily. This is a man. So our mind actually thinks in a picture. And therefore, many researchers and many psychologists, they believe that if we watch a movie, actually, if suppose we had watched a movie 10 years ago, and somebody now we watch again their movie, if we watch the first picture, now we remember the whole story. Yeah, this happened, this happened, this will happen next time. This is the reality of our mind actually. So our mind grows actually with the help of pictures. You need to visualize things. And remember, whenever you are reading a book, you don't need to look at the words. You need to understand the picture behind the words. That what is this story actually? If I'm reading for example, if I'm reading actually words, if I'm reading a story, if I'm reading a question, try your best to take out the story from your mind, to take the story out of your mind. This is the way to learn actually the any question. So according to, if you are a poor speller, means you cannot spell, then actually you look to the word picture because you learn through the word picture. But if you want to memorize something, you don't need to learn the words picture. You need to learn the pictures which these words make behind actually it, behind them. Like all words give us some kind of conclusions, some kind of thoughts. So catch those thoughts behind the words. Don't go, behind the words. Catch the thought behind the words. Search for the thought. Like suppose if I say Treaty of Versailles. Now you write your whole points. Now you need to make the story out of this. That what is the story behind it, and it will give you an easy way to learn anything. There was a research in Florida. 300 students were in group A, 300 students were in group B. There was one big book. Okay, it was 4,000 page book. To the one group, they converted the book in drama form, in story form, in video form. The group A were given the movie, the drama to watch it in the class, to talk about that, to discuss it. And the other group were given actually the books to read. When they were assessed, when they were evaluated, 72% result of those drama students who watch in the form of videos, in the form of dramas, their performance were far better, 72%, as compared to those who read only the book. If you understand why we have a lot of pictures in children books, only to attract them and to take them easily in their mind. This is the way, this is the psychology of our mind. Our mind understands things in picture very easily as compared to the words. So each and every word behind has a picture. Each and every question makes a drama, makes a story. Okay, so remember, memorize that story. That suppose if I'm memorizing a question, what this question says and what is the answer for it, I need to know the story of that answer. So you need to memorize the words. Memorize the story behind the words. Memorize the topic story, the topic conclusion. You will be easily able to write in your own words if you have the picture. Now, there are two problems with the people here. One problem is, it's very interesting. Okay. There are in the whole world, according to researchers, that there are two types of students, and they had this two type of they will have this two type of problems. One, this person has good visual brain. It means he can put everything in a visual form. But the problem is his language ability is very weak. So he cannot express the thoughts. Did you see what I'm saying? Visual is good, knows everything, but cannot express. This is with one problem with a student. Second, there are students that they have writing ability, language writing ability. But the problem is that they cannot put the stories here in their mind. So how they will write? These are the two biggest problem with the students around the world. And all of it is the Singaporean students, the Finland students, the American, the British, or the Asian students. They had only this one. There are people, they had good brains, they can learn everything, but whenever it comes to the exam, they can't learn. According to new researches, many researches are good that, actually this is not possible to put things in the mind in a good way, because naturally by birth you have the ability of gaining things. Now the research says, the neuroscientists, especially Maria Polensky from Harvard University, she is actually a neuroscientist. She said that the ability to memorize things, the ability or the level of memorization can be made effectively, can grow, can improve with the help of practice. It is not by natural birth. It is not by natural birth. It can be improved with the help of practice and with the help of techniques. It means putting things in the brain. And language ability, all the experts says that language ability, language writing is a skill. There are 4 skills of English language: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So writing is a skill. It's called productive skill. So productive skill needs more practice and guidelines. More practice and more guidelines. So if you give me the paper, I will check, I will take out your mistakes. So this is a guideline. This will grow and polish your writing skill. Every skill actually needs to be practiced. A driver who drives 20 years and a driver who drives only 10 years, a driver who drove already for 20 years will be far and more smarter than a person who drives 10 years. Because skill, the more you give time to the skill, the more it becomes actually your habit, it becomes your quality. So the problem is that we don't give time to it. So you need to give. And the same way is Maria Polensky, she said that why we cannot memorize things, the reason we did not practice over it. We did not have a proper guidelines, a proper techniques to practice. He said that a person who memorize every day something for 10 minutes, it's a good way to improve the memory. The thing is that in 24 hours, we don't memorize anything. At least you use your mind to memorize something. In 24 hours, you have to give 10 or 20 minutes to memorize something. If you don't give, so your brain, your mind becomes the habitual of that. If you don't put actually pressure on your mind and on your memory, so it cannot give you what you want. So this is the reason that you need to understand that things can be easily learned through visual way, through diagrams. Change everything to diagrams. Try your best to convert each and every topic to the diagrams. The more you are using diagrams, and remember one thing, I'll give you, this is also important thing. Those students pass the CSS and PMS, when they write the question, they also put there some diagrams there. Like suppose if they tell you, give us some reasons how to finish corruption in Pakistan. You say we need honest people, we need good political system, we need good productive businesses, we need new laws to improve the business and this thing. So then if you write all the things, in the end you need to put a diagram, because a diagram is a specific marks inside the inside actually the CSS and PMS. Because the checker understands that this person is a clear mind, a clear perception about the question. He knows the knowledge. If you are writing things in a very big long essays, if you put some diagrams there, they will easily understand that this person has clarified, this person has a clear mind on this topic. So diagram gives us clarity, not only to the student, it also gives to the checker, to the examiner. And even University of Malaccan boards or any boards, you put diagrams there in the questions, they will say, this man knows everything. So how to take out diagrams from the topics, we will have another one topic for this, okay? So, do you understand, guys, this? Okay? So, inshallah, this one, focus on visualization. Visualize each and every event, okay? You will understand. Suppose if I am writing here in words, you go home, you arrange in diagrams. Suppose this is of Treaty of Westphalia, then this was the reason, this was another one reason, this was so make diagrams. Convert all the topics into diagrams. The more you are expert at diagrams, the more your mind will become clear about the events, everything. There is a book on the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. There are many books written on the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him life. But one book was given Nobel Prize. To the writer, Nobel Prize was given. This was the best book. Actually, it was, the people had written books actually in volumes, but that man has written one book. But what was the best thing in that? And I will tell you what is the name of that book. But what was the best and the good thing in that book was that this man draw the diagrams. They say when there was Ghazwa Khandaq, where were the kuffar, he drew all the structures by hand. He say when and where was the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, born, what was time, and he draw the whole pictures in the pages. That in Ghazwa Khandaq, this was the mountain, he draw by hand. This is the mountain, here were the Sahabas were standing there, put across here. And here were the enemies, and some Sahabas were there. So it is very, very interesting. You put the whole things in your mind. Its name is Ar-Rahiqul Makhtum. This is one of the best book, okay? In English, it's called the Sealed Nectar. It is also Urdu version, Pashto version, English version, Persian version. This is the only book on the Prophet which has been translated into 3,200 languages around the world. So it's a very best book. If you need to buy it, so, and it's very authentic because there is authenticity. And that authentic means good references according to the hadith and to the successor and the successor of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the Sahabas. So, do you understand, guys? So visualization is very, very much important thing. And there is another one book, I forgot the name. It's it's called Historical Background of the Islam with Pictures. They say in which place did Adam actually came down, and Eve in which place did come, where did they meet? They put you in a big diagrams. It's a very interesting book. These are the story of the Holy Quran, but they put in a diagrams. So the European students, why they are ahead? Because they learn things in visual forms. So visualize things. Today, this is the era of not, you need something here. Mugging up or cramming is good for some reason, somewhere. Cramming is good, but not for every topic cramming is bad. Remember, there are rules that 80% you use visual methods of learning, but 20% you need to use the cramming method. Because there are some dates and things you need to memorize it. Cramming means rata. It is not, no, you say that cramming is very bad. No, some things are good for cramming. You cannot memorize it. You need to repeat it again and again in your mind. Cramming does not mean Pakistan ki chalo Pakistan. That is something else. That is not a cramming. Cramming, you repeat something in your mind again and again. Look at something for 1 hour, for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes. This is also called cramming. Yes, repeatedly. So why cramming is good? For some dates, you cannot put through that visual. You need cramming. But remember, if you are solely dependent on cramming, you will never pass CSS and PMS. You need 80% your visual mind, your conceptual mind. You make concepts about things. If somebody tells you about World War I, you need to understand where was Belgium in the map, where was the France, where was the Western Front, where was the Eastern Front, where did the Russian actually attack on the Germany, where actually why the Schlieffen plan actually failed. So all those things you need to memorize. Okay, so. Now, your bad thing is this. Let me tell you one thing. Today, when we do something in IR, in history, or somewhere else, this topic you should go and translate it into the diagrams. Once you translate it into the diagrams, then write in your home in a whiteboard. Put this this diagram, okay, for 24 hours until tomorrow you do another one topic. You will easily, your problem is that you are repeating the backward and the forward things are going away from you. You repeat also the far backward, but also remember, I will tell you one thing here. According to the researchers, we have three types of memory called temporary memory, sensory memory, and long-term memory called permanent memory. Here is an interesting thing about the memory, that if you don't repeat things in 24 hours which you have learned in the classes everywhere, it will forget from you. So remember today's topic. Don't let it that, okay, I learned today, understand. No, go at least give 30 minutes or 40 minutes to today's topic, because you know everything. Remember, you know everything. How did the sir talk about that and everything? According to the research is why we need to repeat it, because tomorrow your visual mind actually loses the pictures of the classes. Your visual mind loses the picture of the class if you don't repeat. Suppose today we started the causes of Second World War, and now you say, let me finish First World War I causes and consequences, then I will come to this. You lose all the pictures. So remember, if you go home and today's topic, you repeat it and you put in diagrams, and you will also remember how sir talked about that, where he showed us the point there. So you remember, if you leave this topic for the day after tomorrow, after 2 days, and you repeat it, you will lose actually all the pictures inside the class. Classroom is itself a visual platform of learning. Okay? So you need to understand this thing. Visualization, putting things in diagram, making the story behind the words, they are important, not the cramming. Cramming is important up to something. Initially, there are special techniques how to memorize long questions,